It's back on. Hey guys, we are live, episode 24 of the weekly. This is season 4, where we still have technical issues, as you can expect. And with me are my usual hosts, except one who will be joining us. Starting off with Mr. Sam, aka Black Iron _ man. How's it going, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. And of course, the one and only Mr. Double Red, Wine Bagdell. How's it going,
double mint, double your fun. I just realized, like, on camera, this red of my hat and the red of my shirt don't really match.
Nah, it's all right, man. Color correction will come later.
Now I can't unsee it, and that's upsetting. So.
Oh, and by the way, congratulations, man. Some Gadget Guy just hit 50,000 subscribers.
Right on, so, man. No, thanks. But in a large part because of my participation here, and so I've been very appreciative of all the people that have supported the channel.
Yeah, well, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just keep cranking it out.
Nothing to it but to do it, right?
Exactly. And of course, Mr. Warren Bowman will be joining us, hopefully. He's having some technical issues with audio. But let us kick the show on the road. Thank you, everyone, for joining in the chat. I see Bored Femmes in the chat there. She says congratulations also to you. You're still flying back now. So, all right, some uselessness for this week. As you know, we always have a uselessness. And this week we have 2 uselessnesses. The first one comes from a story about West Virginia trying to improve local broadband internet, and ISPs are now suing. So, Mr. Juan Bagnell, could you please kick off that story for us?
So this is one of those areas, I'm the bleeding heart liberal, but where I very much agree with libertarians when it comes to things like regulation. My feeling is we always want to work bottom up. I don't believe top-down deregulation, like let Verizon do whatever they want, is the right play right now. And this is a perfect story to illustrate that, because we have so many of these state laws around the country. Sorry, someone's calling, and my Google voice just went off in my ear. We have so many of these laws around the country, these state laws around the country, where somehow ISPs, local ISPs, have written into their state legislature sweetheart deals that prevent competition. So West Virginia is one of the worst areas in the country for data connectivity, especially in more rural areas. And through pressure on the state legislature, they wrote this law to try and increase competition. They're not trying to do what Chattanooga, Tennessee did. We're not talking about a public option. We're not talking about some sort of co-op or state-funded initiative. They're literally just trying to get more businesses into the state so that they can get better competition, better rates, and better connectivity for their citizenry. And so, of course, the entrenched ISP there doesn't want more competition. The market has no incentive to compete. If you're a solo player in that area, you don't want another company to walk into that space. And so, of course, Frontier Cable is now suing the state of West Virginia. And this is the frustration that I think a lot of us face when we're looking at our own areas. Like here in California, I either get Spectrum with terrible upload speeds, or I get DSL with even worse upload speeds. And that's the illusion that I have of competition in this area. So this is the kind of stuff that we need to start unraveling. And this is where we do need to start tackling some of these regulations. But I really feel that this is, again, an example of bottom up. We want to take out all of these tinier little state laws that get in the way of competition. And then we can look at deregulating the market after we've sort of leveled the playing field.
So my thing here is this: I'll let Warren and Sam just kind of catch up on the news, because we just added that to the news stories here. But I mean, can they actually sue for something like this? That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Many companies have, and very successfully. And in fact, if you remember, Google was going to offer Wi-Fi in San Francisco. Sure, yeah. So these types of stories keep popping up, and it's because it's so easy to help influence local politics. Again, this is what's so frustrating. When we look at the amount of money that it takes to lobby a congressional member, a senator, a congressman or congresswoman at the national level, we're talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign contributions. And so, I mean, what we saw, like the telecommunications industry has lobbied against net neutrality to the tune of $500 million. That sounds like a lot of money until we talk about the fact that these are billion-dollar industries, right? And not just like 1 billion. We're talking tens of billions of dollars per fiscal quarter. So it doesn't take a lot of money. If it doesn't take a lot of money at the national level, you can imagine at the state and local level, when we're talking about city officials, how easy it is to influence. And this is, again, another example of some speech is more valuable than other speech. Speech like ours, just sort of talking about these issues and trying to influence votes, that's valuable. Throwing money at a campaign, that's more valuable. So you can imagine what has more influence if you're a local politician. But if you're in West Virginia right now, chances are probably pretty good that you are a non-competitive entity when it comes to digital communications, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to education, when it comes to entrepreneurship. I can't say that word. Creating new businesses. And that's because you've been kept out of the 21st century market. So now those state politicians have to wrestle with, how do we get new businesses here? Well, we have no data. We have no backhaul. We have no fiber. Well, let's try and fix that. We can't. We allowed these laws to be created that prevent competition. Well, let's change that. Oh, we're going to get sued. It's a law on the books. And this is why laws like these are so problematic, is they take a lot of effort and energy and courtroom fees to unravel. And so when Verizon can sue the United States government over the original open internet order, what chance do you think West Virginia has in paying for lawyers that can really properly compete against what an ISP can front? It's a very difficult situation to untangle.
Sam, would like to add anything?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Reddit did a great job. Reddit always does a great job of things like this when doing research, because when I think the story broke a few days ago, and what they started doing was there are links on Reddit you can track down and see what's been going on between Frontier and West Virginia. And it turns out, man, Frontier is when you talk about toxic, they are a toxic kind of ISP to have. There's a report earlier in the year, early June, that these guys misused, there's an allegation that they misused federal grants, right? That was supposed to go into making, connectivity or putting down, fiber for, that would benefit other ISPs, the small ISPs. So you go to the person who can actually provide the service. Probably as Frontier is the bigger one, they can provide the service of putting those wires in the ground, those cables in the ground. Now it turns out that they didn't use it for the intended purposes. They laid down fiber that only benefited them. So this is just one case, right? And then there's another case of a state senator who works for Frontier, but as his part-time job, voted as a state senator again, like for this bill that we're talking about right now, to try to make the marketplace a little bit more competitive. And after being an employee for 7 years, they fire him because allegedly because of that. So yeah, these guys are basically running West Virginia's broadband laws. This is ridiculous. That there's no way that you can get it when they can actually fire a state senator from their job because, hey, you voted in a way we didn't like. That is crazy. Just allegations turn out to be true.
I mean, I give the state senator props though. I mean, because look, in all
he did what a citizen is supposed to do.
No, I know, but I'm saying, look, the way politics has been running, right? From circumstances, he most likely would go with at least, his bread and butter, so to speak. But he did his job, so I give him props for saying that.
But to add to Juan's point, because when you asked the question, how can Verizon can fight the U.S. Government, but how can West Virginia win against Frontier? The problem is not just the fact that these laws are complex. The problem is that these ISPs know more about the law than our state senators or the guys we send over to Washington.
That's definitely what I'm alluding to, is because they're paying for an army of lawyers. So for West Virginia's government to actually be competitive, they have to pay for a similarly staffed army of lawyers, which I can't believe that West Virginia is well funded enough to actually compete at that level against an ISP, especially with the precedent that's been set down by previous lawsuits. Again, even if they win, it's a war of attrition, which will decimate West Virginia's financial status. and that's all taxpayer funded. Like,
yeah, true, but also you would find that a lot of these laws, especially when it comes to like making financial regs, making broadband regulations, a lot of these laws are actually drafted. Now, the actual writing of the law is done by these consultants or these lobbyists for these industries. So in essence, these industries are writing laws that they make so complex that only they can figure out how exactly it works. And a lot of the times, the way it works is that it benefits them to the detriment of competition and consumer advocacy. That's normally how it works. So at the end of the day, it's not just a question of how can these smaller states fight this, this ISP. It's a question of like who wrote these laws, and does West Virginia actually understand how their broadband law works? Because this was a really fast turnaround. It wasn't a turnaround as in, oh, it's affecting our business. They voted, and right away, these guys knew, okay, it's against the law for you to vote to basically make your consumer consumers get better broadband. How did they know that so quickly? Because they have a better understanding of a law that they probably helped draft than the actual legislative branch of the West Virginian government. And that's sad and sickening.
Warren, do you want to add anything to it?
Well, the only thing I could say that would probably maybe work to West Virginia's favor. It looks like Frontiers is a bunch of bankruptcy issues, so they're going through a whole bunch of crap right now that they might not have the money to front the lawyers that they need, and they might it might be a little bit more of an even playing field. But this is one of those things that now that people are alerted to, the ISP is going to do whatever it can to last into the inevitable, which is that this law will eventually get itself abolished. Companies will be able to compete, ISPs will be able to come in, and things will go the way they were supposed to go. And Frontier will probably not exist or be bought by somebody either before or somewhere around that point afterwards. It's not going to want to deal with this shit, because I think that's another thing that can happen as well too, is they could get bought out by a bigger company, and this company is like, this is an expensive cost to deal with fighting this. We're big enough that we can put we're big enough we can handle the competition, so let's just drop it in, because Frontier is not a big ISP. No, they're relatively on the lower scale of things. And
but for the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, well, they've been operating as a faux monopoly. And
they've been having a faux monopoly in West Virginia, but what could easily going to happen is, especially when you hear these bankruptcy things and basically losing money, that means, they're a little fish in the water, and some bigger shark like a Comcast, a Time Warner, or AT&T can scoop them right up, and
and that's an easy acquisition, because I don't think anyone would really oppose it either.
And they're just probably not going to want to deal with this, considering that they're trying to come in and have more of a positive light to their branding versus what Frontier is going.
Well, and actually, that's an interesting point too. Is let's say that the state really does go through all of this process to make West Virginia look more competitive to other businesses. The market still has to decide that West Virginians are worth the cost, that there's enough money in West Virginia for them to roll out services. This is another problem that Tennessee was facing, where the state is actually going to subsidize businesses instead of rolling out the fiber in Chattanooga. And it's because these companies have decided, like, well, for these rural subscribers, it's not worth it for us to go out and give them better service, because we're not going to make our money back right away. In fact, it's going to take a long time for us to make our money back if we roll them even just better cable, let alone something like fiber.
That's such a dangerous. It tells you how far they're not thinking when you have companies like AT&T and Verizon working on 5G networks that can reach these rural areas through power lines and other means that can give them nearly the same fast broadband speeds. And considering that you don't need cable to watch entertainment online these days. If you're not going to build out there to give them an option because you feel it's going to cost you too much money, when they can get it over the airways, and you can't do jack shit about that.
Yeah.
You're losing a lot of business, and I think a lot of businesses that fail to kind of recognize they need to push themselves in those spaces are going to find themselves probably struggling once we get to
Well, I mean, I think
position
Frontier, to your point, Frontier is a good example. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think they're a very forward-facing ISP. And like, again, why I point to Tennessee is a lot of these companies are still like, well, we're going to serve you with copper and we're going to give you the exact same upload and download speeds as everybody else. And we're going to charge the same price and we're all at parity. So then what's the incentive for a consumer to switch to another service? Like, you haven't made the market more competitive. You've basically just kind of entrenched the same, not monopoly. I don't know that's called, like everybody's at the same level. But no one's invested in actually trying to improve that service. Because I think for those companies, they're looking at it like, if we give someone fiber, we have to spend all the money to roll out fiber. So for that one fiscal quarter, that looks like a big loss. Then they don't look at, like, for the next 50 fiscal quarters, you've got a locked in consumer who's happy with your service and is spending more money, and you make those costs back and your profits look great. But again, they can't get over that hurdle of, for 1 or 2 fiscal quarters, this is going to look like
lots of short-term
expenditures.
Lots of short-term thinking.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with a lot of these companies, especially in the ISP range. There's a lot of short-term thinking. We want to keep things the same way that we've had them for so long, and not really willing to change with the business. And unfortunately, the bigger, especially the wireless, the companies that can offer wireless internet services and stuff like that, see themselves at the forefront. Like, we know what the future is going to be. We're going to head our way there. We're going to get there before you do. So once we can flip that switch and we can offer these things, it's the Wild Wild West at that point, and it's just it's going to look. I think once we get 5G, true 5G networks, and people can offer wireless services. Remember Verizon was trying to do this 5 years ago, but LTE canisters outside the home in certain areas. Now imagine they get to that point where they finally kind of get to do these type of things, and this is a real thing, and you can go and say, I live in somewhere in rural West Virginia, even as far as out as far as like the Appalachian Mountain area, West Virginia, and I was like, they're now offering me service, but Verizon's LTE Enhanced Plus Alpha, whatever the hell they'll call it, will be there along with AT&T's 5G, awesome Blue Globe, whatever the crap they'll call they're available out there. And they're already my cell phone provider. And they can actually offer me a complete package, including entertainment, cell phone service, and data services, all within one price. And I don't have to go and see anywhere else to do that. And it travels with me no matter where I go. So it's not just in my house or in my home, my area. It's if I decide to go to another state. If I say, I'm going to go visit my family in Georgia, my services are right there. I decide to go out to California, my services are right there. That's going to be a real game changer. And I think these ISPs that aren't thinking that way, we're going to see a lot of them get destroyed.
Well, anyway, let's move on from that point, because we spent quite a bit of time on West Virginia and the suffering they're going through. This second uselessness, we're going to be quick because we've covered the FCC so many times. But we
can just read the headline. I think
most
people are pretty well caught up, but it does deserve to be mentioned
for not complying with Freedom of Information Act requests. This comes from an organization called American Oversight, who filed a request in April 26th of this year, and has been repeatedly being ignored. They said the FCC has made it clear that they're ignoring feedback from general public. So we're going to courts to find out who they're actually listening to about net neutrality. That is coming from the executive director, Austin Evers, who says basically this lawsuit is to find out if the Trump administration is going to let the industry lobbyists rewrite the rules of the internet for millions of Americans. We're going to make sure that they listen to the public viewpoint.
Yep. I mean, you're the FCC. You still need to do your job, even if you're trying to completely dismantle the FCC. I think that's about it.
Any other quick thoughts before we move to main topics?
I thought you guys were actually
just quick. Just quick.
I thought you guys were actually going to talk about the whole fact that the day before that they actually got sued for not releasing exactly Freedom of Information Act again about the DDoS
attack. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that one. Yeah.
So it's so they're claiming that something happened. People are alleging that they claim that something happened that didn't happen in order to suppress people's comments. And then they're also going to try to suppress who they're listening to in order to write this law. So that's just put all that in perspective.
Ajit Pai is, at the end of this, is going to be the face of failure on the internet. Like anytime there's a fail, his face is going to be on that thing.
He's the next generation of "It's a series of tubes."
Yeah, him and his Reese's mug. Him and that Reese's mug. Oh yeah.
Yes, that is called. That's called the L.
I feel so bad for Reese's.
Like, I know Reese's should be like, please.
Reese's like, no, we have no dog in this fight.
If I were Reese's, I'd be suing them for abusing their trademark.
Like no, okay, not allowed.
Let's get into some topics. So Motorola announced the Z2 Force. They should just call it Z Force 2, man. I know it's Z2.
So if the name is something from Capcom.
So they announced the Moto Z2 Force this week. Went to launch event. Got our hands on it. I know, Sam, you haven't taken a look at the device. And Juan, have you seen the device yet?
It's so Jules shipped it to me after the event. I was gonna do the camera review on it. Yeah, he shipped it like 7-day ground.
Oh Lord!
Fail.
So it's gonna be here next week.
Fail. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna ship it ground to California from where?
I don't know that he shipped it ground.
The other side of the country.
Get it overnight, and Pocket Now will reimburse you. But he didn't send it overnight. You're like, okay, well, it's gonna be a while. Great.
Okay. Warren, your thoughts on the device, since I know you've seen the device itself. What do you think?
It's a nice device. It's kind of just a resharpening of the Z Force from last year. Very, very thin device. Not a fan of the less battery life, but the battery life's been decent so far. I've been using with it. Same operating system, Motorola's been using forever, so that feels very familiar. This is probably Motorola's best camera, but it's definitely probably not the best camera of 2017 or even 2015 for that matter. But it's overall a decent device. I just don't know with the pricing if it's going to be really competitive with with so many newer phones looming within the next 3 months.
Yeah. On my part, it's thin for no reason. I'll just put it that way. It doesn't need to be that thin. And, they took out the headphone jack, which, of course, makes me angry. And they did not supply any USB Type-C headphones, which makes me even angrier because
I witnessed it. I
don't know why.
I witnessed the anger of Thunder E.
I'm just like
as he's unboxing the phone, and he's like, "There's no headphone jack," and I'm like, "Where have you been? It's like 2017." And he's like, "Oh, is there an adapter? There's one in my box. There isn't one in my box."
Yeah. I did get confirmation from AT&T that AT&T retail units will have the adapter in there. They did say that. So maybe it was just the units that I got for the review.
Yeah, but that's hilarious, though.
Yeah, but there is no USB Type-C pair of headphones. So I'm going, how are you trying to get people on this thing?
Bluetooth.
The one thing I'll say, though, is the best accessory. I mean, the 360 camera accessory is nice. It's just $299 is going to
$299.
$299. Yeah. It's such a hard sell.
This just got a price cut to $180.
Oh, never mind. Then it's done. Yeah, there's no need. There's no.
And I mean, I'm telling you right now, without even going through official review, that gear camera is better. Yeah, the gear camera is just better.
Yeah,
quality.
But I will say that I'll give them this: the gaming adapter, mod. Yeah,
is it good?
Yeah, that one's cool.
That's
technically the thing they should have given us was the damn gaming mod adapter, not the 360 camera. I know why they did, because it's such a big deal right now. But that would have been far more interesting to see people gaming.
Oh no, the gaming mod is really nice. It also has an extra battery pack in there,
it's not Bluetooth either.
So it just snaps in and it feels really solid. It feels like you just got a mini new gaming system. on your hands, So
now, does that mod have a battery?
Yeah, 1500 milliamps.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And
That adds an extra. You see, that adds an extra 8 hours of battery life for you.
It took over,
that doesn't mean
almost
anything,
600
especially with
plus.
gaming. Like, seriously, like you're running the
No,
phone
no,
at
no,
its hardest, probably with the
What that
screen.
estimate is probably gearing of is basically regular phone use or talk.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is like, don't try and tell me. This is what I hate. Like, oh, you plug your phone in for 15 minutes and you can get 20 hours of use, and you're like, 20 hours of what use?
What kind of
like,
use?
Who can use their phone for 20 hours straight anyway?
Sorry, Sam, what were you saying? I didn't hear you there.
Sorry, I got cranky.
No. They reduced the battery life on the phone. It looks like.
Yeah, they reduced the battery for the phone, so it's down to 20. Is it 27 or 2600 milliamps?
2750.
Yeah, to me it makes no sense because it's really thin, but I'm like, it really doesn't need to be that thin. We don't need to go there with this device. So there's some choices that I'm just not a fan of on this device. But as a general,
we're also not getting the most powerful one either.
Yeah, so
we're not getting the.
Warren's like, I didn't get the best one. I don't like this.
Thank you, Annalie. 2750, 100 milliamps. Yeah. The gamepad. Let me see. Kyle Ruggles says I have a Mogo gamepad with I think 1500. It comes with it's $35. Moto's.
And I want to add that they put a smaller battery. This is thin, just as thin as the OnePlus 5. That's a 3300 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Explain yourself.
Motorola, you have some explanations to do though.
How?
No, but I mean, I felt like, because again, I haven't used it yet. Looking at the announcement and looking at the coverage that we produced, that this was their attempt at blending. So there is no Z2, right? It's just the Z2 Force.
Yeah.
So it looked like their main focus, and this to me seems more like a Lenovo initiative than a classic Motorola idea, but that their main initiative was to basically deliver the Moto Z2 with the Force screen. So that the real true comparison would be to compare it against the original Z, but that now we have the shatterproof screen.
Yeah,
Lenovo
nice.
really likes to do this though, where even for their laptops, they're not always the most they're rarely the most competitive with the biggest batteries, but they're always trying to make the sleekest, slimmest, lightest devices that they can. And then if you want, you can add additional weight to your travel by including a charger or another battery or something like that. And so that to me really does seem to be a step away from classic Moto and more towards Lenovo Moto.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, thanks for bringing it up again. The shatterproof display is fantastic. They had a party that night and they had people just dropping iPhones and Lenovo phones at the same. I mean, it's legit. It's not like it's, some fake. They basically were just like, hey, we'll just keep wasting iPhones. Yeah.
Cameras hanging over your head, you could walk under. Like that was like.
Yeah. So I mean, the shatterproof display is nice. I know some people have talked about how the colors might be slightly off, and that is to be expected if you're going to have something, that thick, adding protection and all that. But at least that's the one cool benefit of the phone is you can drop this thing any way possible, and your screen is fine. You don't have to go pay $150 to $200 just to fix a display on the phone. But I think Moto still has.
Oh, scratches up easily though. I'll tell you that. Shatterproof, not scratch proof.
Some work to do. Moving on to our next topic. Apple.
Well, hold on, right? Because
I was trying to go to something exciting.
No, I know, and we can get there, but just like because again, I haven't used the phone, and we had some people on our podcast to talk about the Moto 2. Like the whole point of this phone is buying into a system of modular accessories, and like the gamepad's kind of cool, 360 camera, meh. Like the whole main focus of this phone seems to be a non-starter for a lot of people. Or at least I don't see where Moto has demonstrated that their modular accessories are any better than just plugging something into a USB port.
Well, I think for me, my problem, the mod, I've accepted it, and I like their mods. The 360 camera mod is nice. It's just expensive. The point now, they need to get that pricing right. That's my problem with all their mods.
Right, but would you carry around a mod which is bigger than your phone to have a 360-degree camera that can be applied occasionally, or would you just carry a 360 camera and plug it into your
look
USB
at
port
that. Look at that.
Just go. And then when you change your phone, this is still compatible with anything that uses a USB-C port.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty dope camera, though. Where do you get that from?
This is an Insta Air 360, Insta 360 Air.
Damn, kind of like
and
that.
it's cheaper than the Moto mod. The app works great, does live streaming. It'll upload directly to YouTube and Facebook. Like, it's a pretty well.
Can you edit better though?
Oh, so the app doesn't have great editing. I will give it that. You know, Moto probably has better editing capabilities, but again, a lot of this stuff is probably from the perspective of a live stream, not like I'm going to cut together a video and make it look all professional.
No, I do agree with you on the 360. But again, it's
well, but I mean that extends to everything. You know, like
everything.
Do you get a battery? Do you spend a lot on a battery that slaps onto the back of one phone? Or do you spend a lot less on a battery that can charge a tablet, a phone. Your camera, all at the same time?
See, but here's the thing: there's a Moto. To me, it's more like Moto is trying to create an ecosystem that you stay in the ecosystem. That's the main thing, right?
Oh, I totally get that. It's like a camera. You know, you buy lenses for a camera. You don't want to go and buy a different manufacturer's camera. What I'm saying is, Sony has made an excellent argument for why you should buy into their camera system. I don't see where Motorola has made a better argument over USB.
Or Bluetooth.
See, like it's.
I was gonna say look. Let's just move to Apple Pay.
You only have to buy this particular item from them, and you can't use any third. You can't use it on any third party. Simple as that.
True. Okay,
that's the argument.
Yeah, that's the argument. And again, to Sam's point, people stay in ecosystems. We all know how Apple users do not know how to use an app like Hangouts because it's not FaceTime. You know, I mean, that's how.
Because Hangouts is garbage. But
don't speak bad about Hangouts. Look, start cutting up now.
We all have lower thirds, man. Like, stop it. There's no robo voice.
Let me have
working well. Do not jinx this podcast now.
Right, and if you're starving, then Krusty brand imitation gruel is probably delicious. It's great.
Yeah, it is. Now, talking about people who is paying delicious Krusty rolls, Apple is going to Nokia received $2 billion from Apple over patent settlements. Yay!
Yep.
Yeah, so Nokia announced on Thursday in the financial results that it got a lot of cash from Apple in Q2. For pain and just general thoughts, man. Just general thoughts.
Talking about patent infringement.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. They steal a lot. Everybody knows they do. Somebody finally called them out on it.
I mean, the one company that does have a lot of patents that you can't mess with is basically them and Microsoft. So. Which is why.
Well, Microsoft will work out a licensing deal because they think long-term situations whenever you're dealing with those type of things. Unlike Apple's, like just like we steal you, we're gonna steal your stuff and not pay you, or we're gonna sue the pants off of you for using it. And we're gonna cease and desist you, then steal whatever you came up with the idea to do. We're getting all shiny Apple.
Sam, what do you think?
About time they caught Nell.
No, it makes sense. It really wasn't like we in the case, but Apple decided not to go into litigation and paid $2 billion.
Damn it, Juan! You start talking trash about Hangouts, and look what happened to Sam's video.
You see, that's what happens. It freezes up. It freezes up.
Damn.
Now,
sorry.
I'm about to go robot voice. I can feel it already.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So basically, they paid $2 billion. To basically not have a fight over patent infringements. And Nokia is reporting this as a cash infusion. No, Nokia. This is not a cash infusion because this is only a one-time deal. It's not going to happen probably ever again. It's not.
Yeah, but it's still a cash infusion. Cash was infused in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. So as much as this makes Nokia perform better, their share prices performed better than it did, or their earnings to perform better this year or this quarter than it did last quarter, or that expectation. Yeah, I'm still worried. Okay, this is not a silver bullet that solves all their problems. I'm still worried about Nokia. The last product they put out didn't seem very compelling to me. So it's going to be very, I mean, the product they announced they're going to be putting out doesn't seem very compelling. So I'm actually, I don't know. This might just be, oh, look, someone got one over on Apple. Yay. But then the company goes out of business 2 years down the road.
Could be. I mean, well, we'll see. How about you, Juan?
I mean, I'll keep my thoughts on this pretty short. I don't know that we're gonna see too many issues with like this money moving around and the company going out of business shortly after. This win actually, I think, will do a pretty good job of bolstering tech innovation. This is a collective of researchers and developers that have had a pretty proven track record of influencing the technology landscape. So I think this is an important.
Look at the chat. Google's in the chat. Juan, what the hell?
Stop. I doubt very much the veracity of that account.
Let me talk to Google. Just keep going. I'm going to talk to Google.
I'll tempt the deities and say, let Google lightning strike me down now. Sorry, I lost where I was. Basically, one, I'm sure we'll see some kind of further legal action or appeal or something like that. But again, I think it's important to celebrate these victories when companies can sort of, again, abuse their legal power, like an ISP against a state government or Apple against a patent dispute. Not all patent disputes are going to be trolls. And especially when you look at who's generating the dispute, this one is an important win.
Yeah. All right, cool. Speaking of wins, thank you for that nice little segue there. Samsung topples Intel as the world's largest chip manufacturer. Samsung registered a record profit of 12.6 billion. It's also, I think, estimates are saying that they actually made more money than Apple this last quarter. Also, not sure yet because Apple hasn't released their full financials, if I'm not mistaken. But hitting those numbers lies the milestone of its $54 billion in revenue, and 15 billion came solely from Samsung's semiconductor business, pushing it above 14.8 billion of Intel. So what does this say for Samsung, other players in the semiconductor space, Qualcomm, Intel? Any thoughts? I'll kick it off with you, Sam. Angry Hulk.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my camera to work again. It just doesn't seem to be working. I
asked Google for help.
Yeah, no, it's really good that Intel's actually finally having some major competition, right? So Samsung has done great. It's not only just offered more PC chipsets or computer CPUs than Intel. It's also gone out and done Internet of Things. It's gone out and done mobile devices as well. So it's not just the volume; it's also just the diverse amount of products it has out there. And I think Intel is going to be really hard pressed to get back in this fight. And they're hoping that Cannon Lake, right? That's that 10 nanometer. We'll put them back on top. But Cannon Lake was delayed back in 2016, right? Mm-hmm. So it's now 2017. They're saying they're going to have it out by the end of 2017. I think I read there was something at CES earlier this year with Cannon Lake on there, but I haven't heard anything since. Yeah. So it might not even come out in 2017. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that we have a new top dog when it comes to chipset manufacturing in the world. Like Samsung just wins. It seems to be a more innovative and a more diverse company than from the chipset point of view than Intel seems to be right now.
Warren?
Yeah, I mean, like what Sam said, I really don't know how they're going to catch up. They have no phones. Intel has no phones. I mean,
no phones, you lose.
I want to say the last phone of theirs
took this long.
The last phone I think I used with an Intel chipset was the Asus Zenfone Zoom.
How was that?
I mean, the chipset was fine. That was the one that actually had the sliding lens. It had that Periscope zoom feature. So the signature feature of the phone actually wasn't very good. But I mean, the performance was fine. It's just, that was just it. It was fine. We have lots of chipset manufacturers that make fine performance. It's not gonna take the world by storm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what they're gonna do. You know, and besides them, you also have the MediaTeks of the world. You have the Helio processors coming from Huawei and all those other places.
Kirin.
Yeah, Kirin, yeah,
Helio's MediaTek, yeah.
But either way, and they have no mobile space. They
Don't
are,
forget it. Don't forget Nvidia, mind you,
yeah.
again too.
Well, Nvidia has less mobile space than they do. TV and a few people holding on to 1X, but even so, well, Nvidia can always attach themselves in somewhere as a into the graphics or to something else.
Yeah.
They put themselves, they can make themselves a player in that space in some way or another. I don't see where Intel can do that. Intel's bread and butter are laptops and
Computers.
desktops and servers and things of that, big nature is what they're going to make their money. And I think at this point, that might needs to be their core focus in holding on to that market, because I think they don't have a real good shot of getting in the mobile space and then trying to catch up with Samsung and the rest of those. I would hope they don't think they got to go catch up with Samsung, because I think they try to get into that fight, they're going to lose, and they're going to lose pretty badly.
Yeah. Well, I'm skipping the story and adding one for you guys.
Well, I was going to say.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you wanted to add anything.
No, the only thing I wanted to add, and again, I'll keep my thoughts brief since I'm last again. I think this is just further evidence that we are out of the momentum from the post-PC era.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're firmly in the mobile phone era. And as the mobile phone era matures and plateaus, I think that window is going to be a lot shorter than the desktop and laptop era was. So again, like we're changing through how we use services rapidly. So Samsung's on top for now, but I don't think Samsung as a chipset manufacturer is going to enjoy anywhere near the longevity of success in this arena that Intel had.
Yeah, that's very true. But like I said, sorry, I apologize for not including you there, Juan.
No, it's fine.
Piggybacking on Intel's story, adding the story of Intel released the full specs of its Core i9 7880XE, which is 18 cores, 36 threads. Pricing is $2,000 for that processor. And that comes in $1,000 more than its competitor from AMD, which is the Threadripper 1950X. That basically is just 2 cores down in terms of speed. So, again, just pointing out how Intel is not really looking at the market. I saw some leaked reports of, I can't find it, I was looking for it to share with you guys, of a Threadripper PC that was priced at, I think it's bare bones in terms of, it might be the graphics card, it might be like a 1070 or even a 1060, but it was priced at $1,700 for a Threadripper PC from a PC manufacturer. So it looks like AMD might be making deals where you're going to be getting that processor cheaper from builders, if you buy a PC with the Threadripper in there. So just saying, if you're an Intel fan, it's tough times.
Yeah, well, I think this is important, why sort of fandom in this space is probably not the best way to conduct personal business. Like I'm running I'm running a 6-core Intel right now, and it was the right fit for me when I bought this PC, but I have no issues switching over to
loyalties.
AMD.
None.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Is like, what do I get out of loyalty? I want the best possible product for me to get my work done. And
but I mean, come on, man, Juan, if you're a fan, I mean, you should stick. Isn't that right, Sam?
No, if I'm a fan, that means I need to be more critical of my preferred solution, not less. I should not be excusing uncompetitive business practices. I should be.
I'm a fan.
I should be more critical.
Products. Simple as
so.
Well-built products,
I'm a fan of me getting my work done and feeding my family. So what I'm a fan of. And if Threadripper
you don't want to keep spending the same
price,
money over. Exactly.
I just want my 4K video edited 2 damn minutes. That's
Well,
all.
the thing is, the better product
with
right
filters
now,
and layers and everything.
We're not saying that Intel doesn't put out quality products. The better product at the end of the day might still end up being an Intel. But the thing is, your competitor, your closest substitute, is less than $1,000, or it's more than $1,000 cheaper than just a slight bump, which you give us. Then the question becomes, okay, there's something.
Those last 2 cores are expensive.
Exactly.
Oh, did you see reports?
If I was an investor right now, I'll be asking, what is wrong with the manufacturing process for Intel that it costs them so much per core versus their competitors?
Yeah, I mean, reports just came out of AMD's Threadripper is their EPYC server processor with just a couple of the cores are locked. So there's a possibility you can unlock those cores.
Stop locking my damn cores. Give me my cores, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it is. Also, AMD announced the Ryzen 3 processor this week. 2 processors, 1300X and 1200. 1300 is priced at $129, and the 1200 is priced at $109. I got a chance to do a build on them, and I mean, Intel is in bad shape. I just in terms of building, if you wanted to build a 1080p streaming machine, granted you can get a Core i3 almost close to the price, but the AMD motherboards are literally half the price of Intel's. Yeah. And the good thing about those motherboards is that you can upgrade to a Ryzen 7 on the same board, unless you want a board with more features, which usually with Intel boards, but you can't use a Core i3 board for a Core i7. It just does not work well.
Yeah. Well, and also like Intel keeps dipping into those shenanigans of like, buy this chipset, buy this board. Oh, and then pay this extra fee to unlock this other feature. And like that introduces doubt into a market. Like, I'm buying from a premium company a premium product and a premium motherboard. Like, I just want to stick the socket in, and that's what I paid for. I don't want to have to then go, oh, well, if you want this other additional feature, then you have to unlock it. Like, that's silly. I already have the hardware here in the box. Don't do that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely. All right. So now that we've picked a company that we, of course, wrung out for the week, that's not called Microsoft. Let us move on to our next topic. YouTube Red and Google Music are merging. Reports came out that actually from the head of Google. Is it Google Music or I don't know what department?
Well, I mean, they're the same department. I mean, they have been for a little while.
It already is. They already are merged.
Yeah, so now they're merging into one named service for you.
So they're changing the marketing.
Yeah. Pretty much it. I mean,
no, they need to, but
they just need to add Google TV to it, and I'm sold.
Yeah, I mean, my wife thought that YouTube TV came with YouTube Red.
That would be
they have so many of these.
That's the whole case, right?
Divisions that are confusing. So this is one less confusion point. I think that's better for the market.
Yeah, that's right.
I think YouTube TV would be an upgrade of something like it'll probably come at some point once they can get YouTube TV in more cities and regions, and it'll probably be basic YouTube, whatever Google services, and then the next Google service afterwards will include the TV and all those other things as well too. They'll get all that stuff put together.
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. Some news that it's not in the list, but I will share with you guys. I'm not sure when this device will come out or if it will come out at this point, if I can actually find a way to share properly without something crashing.
If it's a Surface phone, who cares?
No. So, of course, EV Leaks showed out leaks for the new Active, S8 Active, which, unless this device is coming out next week, Samsung's announcing, of course, we know the Galaxy Note event is on the 23rd of August.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think they might just need to skip it. I'm sure they have a contract with AT&T because, again, the Active is an AT&T exclusive, but we've never had an Active launch this late. They always launch at the beginning of June. It's a summery idea. It's a summer phone. It really sort of works best in the mindset of we're about to go on summer vacations. They're always my favorite. I mean, this is what's been frustrating is I've been waiting for an S8 Active because the Actives are always my favorite Samsungs. And the idea here being it's a little bit thicker, so it's not only water resistant, but it's also drop resistant, like the G6 and the V20. And it's supposed to have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery for the smaller size screen.
Yeah.
Like that's a great combo. I want that combo. But now, as we're starting to run up against Note coverage, at best, if it's launched now, it's a blip. It's an also ran. It's mentioned briefly, but what you really want to talk about is the new Note 8. Whoa! And that's where we're gonna go. There's no way to make this as popular as a Note could, as an Active could be at this time of year.
Anyone else want to chime in?
No, pretty much.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
It's a bummer though, because like I've got them over here. You know, the S6 and the S7 Actives were my go-to.
Can you just toss it on the wall to the beach? I mean, I didn't say you should dent your wall. Just, you know, I mean, throw it at Optimus Prime. He might like fire.
Well, but you know, like I walked away from the S8. The S8 is not a daily driver phone for me. I don't like how it feels. I'm tired of glass being this premium experience on the back of all of our phones. And I have to throw a case on it anyway. So what was the purpose of buying such a pretty phone if to get what I feel to be respectable lifestyle durability requires me to wreck what makes the phone pretty? Like, I don't want infinity displays. I don't want wraparound glass on all edges of a phone.
Juan, why are you in 2006, man? Come on.
I'm so 2000 and late.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I went out and shot a little video on a hike just to, you know, we threw up a little Twitter video talking about the S8 Active. And on the hike, I was like, I had all of my rugged phones with me. I was like, man, I really miss my Kyocera. Like the Kyocera Brigadier was a baller phone. I miss.
Isn't that the one that you broke?
Yeah, I broke it
in the washing machine.
No, it wasn't the washing. So I did the quick story about that. I did the review and everything, and I went to my uncle's house, and my cousins are like, "So what do you have that's new?" I was like, "I got this pretty cool phone. It's indestructible." I literally just lobbed it lightly, and it just shattered completely. So yeah, and he looked at me. They're like, "Yeah, this one is terrible." I was like, no, I put it through a ringer.
He's like, use a lie.
Yeah, so I know. I hear you.
Why do you always lie to us?
This is still like one of my poorest shot videos, but it still performed really well. Is I took a hunk of concrete and raked it over the screen on the Brigadier, and you can watch the concrete crumble, and there are no scratches on the screen. So it was like things like that. Like that's a phone that I know who I can sell that phone to. That's a phone that I know who should use that phone. It's not for everybody, but damn, that was a fun little phone to use. And so that's what I miss in this market right now is we're all sort of rushing towards this lowest common denominator. Let's make phones pretty, let's make them shiny, and let's make them really fragile. And that's what's going to get consumers on board. And I'm tired of it. I want something else.
Well, I mean, but that's the general consumer. But people like Sam, for instance, likes the Galaxy Note line, and we're hearing rumors that it may offer more multimedia features. Granted, in the article, they showed a projector and the S8. I don't know what that means, whether the S8 will give us holograms, maybe it would be HoloLens type capabilities.
Didn't they have something like this already that you could, oh, no, I think Lenovo offered something like this.
Lenovo has a clip on. Yeah. Samsung don't clip on anything. Samsung builds in.
Yeah, Samsung is in everything in the kitchen sink. Kind of.
Exactly. They will put a hologram in there somehow for you.
Why do I have a computer in my computer? Oh my god! Computer inception.
So a quick one here for you guys here. Reports are coming out that the LG V30 will launch September 15th in Korea and gets a US date of September 28th. Now we do know
no one's going to care.
Now we do know it's going to be announced in IFA, which is around the last week of July, first week of August. Sorry,
last week of August.
First week of September.
Launching at the same time as a Note 8. They're gonna fail, and no one's.
No, Note 8 is going to launch before that. It's actually.
It's even worse.
It's launching at the same time as
Well,
possibly the iPhone, right?
I think what'll be curious to see is LG is already a step behind in just the announcement, but I'll be curious to see when the phone actually ships. Because the one thing we don't exactly know is how aggressive Samsung's going to be with shipping the Note 8. So there is an opportunity, but it's not
drones.
Like
airdropped drones of Note 8s in the sky.
I think
It will rain Note 8s.
Any Note 8 that falls to the ground, if you touch it, will automatically debit your checking account, and you can own that phone. And that's
It will
if you double tap it,
literally, it will just drop from the sky. They will make Note 8s rain as much as they could. They'll start off with a BOGO.
I had a bad joke. Never mind. Don't worry. Just continue. Juan.
Yeah, but I mean, to everyone's points here. I mean, again, you guys know I'm a fan of LG, and I think they make some of the best creator phones, content creation phones that you can buy. And it's not on me to do their advertising for them. They could make the most amazing phone that the world has ever seen, but consumers won't know about it. I do not understand their lack of advertising in developed markets.
After all those ads they showed us at the event, barely see any of those ads afterwards for the G6.
Yeah,
and even just those ads, like, there's nothing emotional to resonate with. I keep going back. I did another video talking about the state of the mobile industry, and I had to reference Apple's bicycle ride in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, that's a dope ad though.
It's an amazing ad. It is so hot. That is an amazing piece of media.
Were you sweating? Were you like just?
No, I was. I mean, like, I get lit up about it. Like, the first time I saw it, like, AC/DC starts cranking thunder, and like, I'm getting like goosebumps and stuff. And for a feature that isn't really that big a deal in the mobile space, like, if you've been a fan of Sony phones, yeah, water resistance, what's the big deal? We've had that for like 10 years now. But to announce that as the first time an iPhone user has ever had a waterproof phone, that was completely lit. Like, that was an amazing ad. If LG could craft a commercial even half as effective at resonating one of their features, they would be a lot more successful. Instead, we get Joseph Gordon-Levitt dancing in the subway, and we get what's his name?
He's happy.
From Crank and from
I thought that was a good
Jason Statham.
I thought those were all like they were all performing. They all were actually performing on those instruments. So I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. But it wasn't cool for the phone. It was cool with the fact that they were doing that.
So look at the "Life is Fun When You Play" commercial for the LG V20. Is the LG V20 a fun phone? It's like the most slate business hard edge org phone that you can buy, right? It's got like the camera system looks like it's just ripped off of Locutus's forehead. This is not a lighthearted, happy-go-lucky phone. So if you look at that ad, life is fun, life is better when you play, or life is better when you have friends or whatever. Can you tell me one feature about the phone?
Exactly. I was saying it was cool for the people doing the things in the video, but really wasn't great for the phone.
It's sad when Motorola's weird Japanese style ads for technically somewhat of an inferior phone is better than the LG's offering. Is better.
No, I do agree.
Commercials are better,
and it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing for them to do. I mean, you're talking about a phone that has a camera system that helps people create, right? Build your ad around that. Just one on audio, one on video, first of all. Yeah. I mean, because the audio system, you have 4 mics, 2 in the back to pick at the front, two in the front. I mean, just showcase that in an ad in a creative way. It's not a hard thing. I mean, hey, LG, we can do it for you right here.
Literally, they just need to make a video version of the website that they created for the V20. You know how you move in like each panel, like you see a hand sort of move, and then it talks about a new feature, and then it kind of shifts, and then they talk about another feature. Like, how about this? You have someone holding a Galaxy
phone. Stop. Cannot put out stuff there without a contract or them paying us anything.
Open to the world. You've got someone plugged in with some really nice headphones, holding a Galaxy, and it's in black and white, and you hear this sort of tinny music in the background, and then you pull out the plug and you put it in a V20, and suddenly their world's in color. You know, like, it's so easy to focus on a feature.
Look, we've not signed a contract here. I'm sorry.
I'm giving that one out there for free.
I made LG a better ad in the Instagram video when I talked about the wireless. I'll talk about the waterproofness in like 5-second video than they ever done in any of their gum commercials.
Yeah. Look, LG put it out here again. We've offered our services to Microsoft and a few other people. Granted, they haven't actually signed yet, but we can do it for you too. Just saying. We've got a lot of colorful ideas, bright colors, red.
But just spend the money on the ad buy. You know, like, put your phone out there in some form of traditional media, and it will make your job so much easier. Because then you'll have someone who will go to a carrier store and say, hey, I want the phone that makes my music sound like I'm living in color. You know, like,
this is
so much easier.
They're the one company that should be doing the lifestyle bloggers. They like the one company that should kind of be doing that sense, because because everything else they have, you got to remember, they're big in the home life and all that other stuff like that, and they're one of the companies that could really benefit from lifestyle advertising. I guess like the Samsung and Apple do that, but they don't need it. They don't necessarily need it. It's just another way to attack another segment to get a bit more of the already large chunk that they have. But LG, if they completely went in that direction and started working in that way, it'd probably benefit them a whole lot more in terms of and especially how their phones connect very well with everything else, and how they show how their phones connect with everything else they do, from their washers and dryers to their TVs to their vacuums to everything else.
It's about creating an ecosystem. Yeah,
they have that ecosystem there, but it would be to me, they're the ones that need to have the 9 p.m. the 8 p.m. party with the fashion and lifestyle bloggers talking about the phone, not Motorola.
Yeah,
it was a nice party though.
Oh, it was a great party. Great party. But I'm just saying, like Moto doesn't need that type of party to have. LG does.
I mean, we'll see what they
fit that brand. They fit that thing.
Come IFA. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it news-wise for us this week. We've gone to that part of the show where we talk about what we currently have on our channels and what we can expect next week. So I'm going to kick it off with Mr. Warren Bowman. Warren, what do you have on the channel and what can you expect?
Well, right now we have up the Moto. I always have to stop and think when I say the name. Moto Z2 Force.
Is it the Turbo Edition or the Tournament Edition?
Tournament Edition.
Right on.
I always got to have Tournament Edition. You got to make sure you get your V triggers. We got like an unboxing sort of first look at that whole thing. Mine comes with the adapter, the little nice USB adapter to headphone jacks. You guys get to see what that thing looks like. But we have that up. And coming up next week, besides the normal stuff, I'm hoping to get this Echo Show review kind of done and kind of show what that thing is all about. Because it's an interesting device that I think priced a little bit lower could be something that I think everyone would be interested in. But other than that, usual stuff. You know how it goes.
Juan, how about you?
So we got a couple things going on Pocket Now. We actually produced our first tech debate video. This is a new sort of format that we're trying to build and grow and have two people, detail opposing sides of controversial tech topics. The first video is focused on the price of flagship phones as compared to more premium mid-ranger solutions and whether or not they represent the best value. A lot of people don't understand how debates work, so this is going to be tricky.
That's nothing new.
My favorite comment was someone essentially saying, like, I love this debate, but what you need to do is talk about more topics, get rid of the timer, and have a longer discussion. And you're like,
well, this is what happens when you don't have debate class in schools anymore. They cut that shit around my generation, man. They cut that shit. They literally did. I didn't have debate class growing up. They cut that shit in the 80s.
But it was hilarious. It was like exactly the same kind of person who'd be like, your podcasts are too long, and you're like, but you just told me you wanted me to record another podcast instead of doing a debate. But no, so again, I mean, even down into how we rank the results, it's not just agree or disagree. It's who was also more persuasive in delivering their arguments, which means I'm going to lose because Jaime is more popular.
You just threw that out there right now.
I'm serious, man. I've got a lot of I have like 3 or 4 comments like, I agree, and that's because Jaime said this. And you're like, if you agree, then that means you actually disagree with Jaime. Oh, okay, I'll change my vote. And you're like, it has nothing to do with the argument. Nothing to do with the argument. Anyway, but we're gonna have other YouTubers on, we're gonna have other tech reviewers on, other journalists, and we've got a whole thing of topics to really chew into. So I think that's going to be a fun series just because we've got to shake up something about how we talk about some of this stuff. And I like having a timer, and you've got to focus on your best argument, and then we'll let the audience decide who was more persuasive. On Gadget Guy, I've got the first 2 videos out for my travel series. The first 2 videos talk about batteries and power adapters. So again, when you're flying overseas, some things to be aware of. Very short videos. I think both of those videos are 2 minutes apiece. And then on VidMe, what did we just put up? Oh, VidMe, we recovered the review of the film In Bruges, starring Colin Farrell. Just an amazingly charming film, and probably one of Colin Farrell's best performances. So if you head over to vid.me, you can catch movies you may have missed. The classic episode of us talking about that film. It was a really fun review.
And you also had your talk on comic series, not comic, but the book.
Oh yes, I'm again because of just the timing and all these things too. So the first episode of the Geek Book Club, we had a pilot go up. My buddy Andrew and I, we've just always loved talking about literature and Star Trek and science fiction. And so the very first episode of the Geek Book Club is up on the Some Gadget Guy YouTube channel. I also have a podcast link for it, but again, we're still working out some of the kinks in distribution there. But every month we're going to talk about a new book, and you can come join us. And it's like a real online book club, and we can talk about our favorite books and comics and things like that. So the next episode is going to record the end of August, I believe August 21st, and we're gonna be digging into the The Man from Earth. Which was also made into a feature film, a really low budget feature film, and also I think had a stage play produced on it about a man who is immortal or claims to be immortal, and his friends now are confronting him about this claim of being immortal. The first episode we did was on Superman Red Sun. So again, a conversation about literature, about a comic book from the point of, like, what does this mean in terms of literature and for the Superman mythos? And it's one of my all-time favorite comics. So you should definitely check that out too.
Cool. Sam, anything from you? Any burning books?
No, I haven't had a chance to look at those books yet. But what I'm hoping to put out next week will probably be probably those microwave books and the Logitech camera here.
Microwave book?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a book you can write on, and once you're done with it, throw it in the microwave.
Oh, I've seen it before.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I've seen it before.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I just haven't had any time.
It's like reverse Death Note, I mean.
It's kind of like it's the reusable Death Note.
Oh yeah, reusable. Sorry, yeah, so to speak.
Yeah,
anime, people, anime. We're not talking about anything else.
Doesn't he have an unlimited supply of paper, anyways?
That's what I'm saying. Has a limited supply of paper. Throw it in the microwave. Wipes it all out. Start over.
That's very good.
That's a sketch.
Yeah.
That's a sketch. Actually, that would probably be a better way of doing Death Note. It's the sketch. On my end, Superhero Hour. We had episode last week. New shows this week again at 6 p.m. Game of Thrones show. Join us every Sunday.
We actually hum the theme when we start the show.
At 10:15. And then
want to see 3 odd black guys, just 4 odd black guys, just kind of hum the Game of Thrones theme.
I don't think we actually.
Actually, I'd watch just for that. So,
hey, I'm trying to get us marketing here, get some more people to show up.
what you guys need to do is do like a barbershop version.
Quartet.
Or like what was it, like Pitch Perfect? What are those called? I can't remember what those are called. Not glee clubs, but acapella.
Acapella.
Yeah.
Like a rockapella version. Yeah.
I mean, whoever can hold a note in our group would definitely do that. And that is just not me.
Lou.
So.
I believe it's Lou. Lou's a dark horse in this one.
Yeah. And then we have our Moto G5 Plus review that kind of came late, but we had to put it up. Also, our hands-on impression of the Moto Z2 Force. And finally, we did a review of the Ryzen 3 1300X, and I am giving away a Ryzen 1200X in that video. But you have to watch the video and learn something and leave a comment of what you learned in there. So definitely check it out. Next week, I really don't know what I have up. I have a bunch of stuff.
He said it.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't.
Stealing my gimmick, man. Stealing my gimmick.
I have a bunch of stuff that I have to do, and I'll probably have 1 or 2 videos up next week. So stay tuned. Want to thank everyone for chiming in the chat. Thank you for leaving your comments. If you're watching later, definitely leave your comments and suggestions and questions. We'll try and answer them for you. Again, I do wish YouTube will just import the chat into the comments
like they used to do.
Yes.
I gotta say, like, because I did a Periscope pre-show for the Pocket Now podcast. That's way too many P's. I gotta say, like, the improvements to Periscope, because I haven't used it in probably well over a year, at least months. It's actually really cool how they incorporate the viewer comments into the rebroadcast now.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually really helpful. Google, it would be nice if we could have something like that for YouTube.
Damn it, Google.
Google was here earlier, so maybe Google.
No, Kyle Ruggles said Google, go home.
You're drunk.
I'll scare Google away. And, you know, this would be a lot funnier for people who are watching this later if you could see the chat where a Google account jumped in and Kyle Ruggles, one of our viewers, scared them away.
Yeah.
I saw y'all last night. It was not good.
Go home. You're drunk.
But yeah, again, like I said, thank you very much. Check out all the channels. Check out Mr. Warren Bowman from BW1.com. That is his Twitter handle, BW1.com, as well as also his YouTube channel. Subscribe and check it out.
I reluctantly answer more on Twitter than I like to, so you can talk to me on Twitter reluctantly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to communicate anyway right now.
I hate Twitter.
And then Mr. Juan Carlos Bagnell, you can follow him on Pocket Now and find out some of his videos on Pocket Now. It's Pocket Now on YouTube. And if you want to follow him personally, it is Some Gadget Guy on Twitter. His channel on YouTube is Some Gadget Guy. And also he has a VidMe channel, which is Juan Carlos Bagnell.
I think it's just Juan Bagnell. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So either one. And then, of course, the one and only Sam, aka Black Iron _man with that stoic face. He's frozen. No, he's not. He's breathing. Okay. That is his Twitter handle. It is Black Iron _man. You can also find his videos on the Booredatwork network. And again, I am just going to stay with this stoic face while I talk about myself. No, I'm just joking. I'm going to switch to myself. And of course, it's me, Thunder E. It's Booredatwork on Twitter as well as YouTube and anywhere else on the web you want to find us. Don't forget to like and share this video, guys. Again, subscribe and check out all the channels. And once you do, definitely hit the notification icon to get notified with our latest videos. And Annalie says she's going to be reviewing all my headphones. Annalie, don't try to steal my headphones. No.
Steal all the headphones.
Actually, if you were to pull one, I wonder how long it would take you to notice.
Quickly.
Yoink.
Yeah, I can see it. I can tell. I know it is.
Mental note: steal a headphone that's normally behind your head. I think it would take you a day. I think it would take about 24 hours for you to notice one of them missing.
It's gone. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Bam.